Havana, Cuba, home to 2 million people, the largest city in the Caribbean. In 1991, Havana played host to the 11th Pan American Games. 1 year short of its 400th birthday, La Habana was a historical treasure chest, waiting to be seen by the almost 5,000 athletes that would descend on communist Cuba in the dead of summer.
It was extremely hot. It was extremely hot. And air conditioning was scarce and hard to find. We sometimes had to make a point of going to designated locations to find air conditioning just to get some relief.
For Danny Foster and the rest of Canada's show jumping team, they would compete as defending champions, having won team gold as well as the individual in Indianapolis in 1987. And while individual gold medalist Ian Millar was of course back, Big Ben was not.
Ian was going on a relatively young horse, so it was actually quite a stressful situation from the team standpoint because it wasn't like he was on a stalwart like Big Ben that we really could count on. He was on a young horse by the name of Future Vision.
Ian's team was much like his new horse, lots of talent, a little short on international competition.
Beth Underhill, although she'd been around the shows and the competitions and the Grand Prix for quite a while, had not so much international team experience.
21-year-old Sandra Anderson came out of Calgary with a horse named Scirocco.
Wonderful, wonderful, dependable horse. Steady as could be. You knew you'd always get a good score from him. And I was very proud that one of my students had come forward and was not only competing internationally, but was on the same team as me. I took particular pride in that.
All of Canada's horses were inexperienced at the international level, but the greenest of them all was Danny Foster's Forever Diamond.
I had a horse that every time it seemed like I took him to a tournament in the short time that I owned him was jumping over his head and doing something he had never done before. So it was always in the unknown. Every time I rode him, it was in the unknown.
He was about 16'2". He was very much a draft cross. King of Diamonds was a very heavy horse. Forever Diamond was a very heavy horse. He was very, very sensitive. You couldn't bandage him, you couldn't put any boots on him, you couldn't touch his legs, which worked great because he would never touch a jump. But he was very, very hot to ride, very difficult.
Even chef d'équipe, Ken Peterson, was relatively new on the job.
He was always there if you needed him. Again, when you're surrounded by the kind of team riders, I had plenty of expertise as far as the horse side of it went, but for management side and support and all that, you couldn't have got better than Ken was. He was terrific that way.
After a slow start in round one, Canada's young horses found their way. Clean for Forever Diamond in round two, matched by Monopoly. Scirocco and Future Vision would go clean in round three, and the brilliant young Canadians would win silver. Only Brazil's perfect third round kept them from gold.
There was a lot of team spirit amongst us, and we were determined to do well. And it really was an event where all the horses jumped for the occasion, and it gave us a very memorable result.
Up next was the individual, and it appeared as though Forever Diamond was the horse to watch.
I just sensed I was on a horse that, as long as I didn't ruin his chances, was trying to do something significant there.
With 3 rounds complete, Foster and Forever Diamond sat third, trailing the leader, Vitor Teixeira of Brazil, by less than 1 rail.
Well, I would say Forever Diamond was what we call a blood horse, a lot of natural energy. And his feet got going along sometimes perhaps a little quicker than his mind. And what happens in that type of sand, deep sand footing, it slows everything down, and they just can't move as fast. And it really seemed to suit him for some reason. And he just, as we say, came up at the wither, got higher with his body. His jump was a better jump.
Round 4 saw Forever Diamond and Monopoly go clean. So with 1 round to go, Danny and Beth had moved to 1st and 5th respectively. And while Canada was in great position, less than 1 rail separated 1st from 6th. All 3 medals were up for grabs, but the Canadians had an ace in the hole. Captain Canada, whose mount Future Vision had suffered a minor injury, was at their side.
He came to the warm-up ring for each of us on every occasion. Even when he was out of contention, he was down there helping us, setting fences, making suggestions. He walked the course with us. He gave us every bit of his expertise that he could, and I really, really appreciated it.
I had Ian at the warm-up jump with me, who couldn't have been more supportive and more brilliant and more informative.
With Beth sitting in fifth, she was the first to go.
I went in with a fair amount of pressure that I had to be clean in the final round in order to be in a medal position. So I remember feeling a lot of pressure to knowing that a medal was within my grasp, but having to jump a clean round. And I think he jumped one of the rounds of his life.
Beth's clean round, save for a half-second time fault, vaulted her all the way to second place. So as Danny Foster entered the ring, one thing was for certain: Canada would win gold. It was just a matter of whom.
It's a ride I'll never forget. I think to this day how every time I turned a corner and he saw a jump that was so big, I could almost feel him reacting to it. You know, he'd go, my goodness. The last few jumps were so large, especially for that horse and the experience level that he brought to that tournament. And when he tried so hard till the very end, I just remember that I was so happy with the animal himself. I was so pleased with him and how much heart he had given me. All of us that are in this sport love our animals so much and what they do for us. And to have a horse in a tough situation like that just excel to the absolute end was just such a thrill. I couldn't have bonded any more with an animal than I did at that moment.
Danny and the Miracles had done it. Gold for Forever Diamond, silver for Beth Underhill and Monopoly. The first ever gold-silver finish for Canada in the 40-year history of the Pan Am Games.
I remember Danny saying, I think I'm going to be coming back to Cuba for vacation for the rest of my life.
We all, I think, get a little bit those butterflies and those feelings emotionally inside when the flag goes up and they're playing your anthem. And to be a part of that, yeah, that was, again, an unforgettable experience.
Individual gold and silver, Team Silver. A magical week for Canada in Havana.